All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Thanks everyone for coming out. This is our first recruiting meeting. We will have more. We'll be sharing this information with the public even further. And we realize that Saturday mornings are busy for a lot of people. There's also a city event today, so that's why none of the council members are here. The mayor called me last night and reached out to me and apologized, but the city's doing a door knocking event in District 1 today. So the city council members and the Greater Taylor Foundation board members are out there knocking on doors. So that's why none of them are here today. So they send their regards. My name is Thomas Martinez. I'm chairman of the board of the Greater Taylor COAD, Community Organizations Active in Disaster. And this is Tim McKeska, and he's the vice chair. And together we just create trouble. That's what we like to do. And so anyway, thank you for coming out. We're going to go over our agenda here a little bit. We also have some of our board members here. I'll introduce them as well in just a little while. But Tim has a video that we're going to show for you, if we can get it up and running.
Well, yeah. Next thing is see if I can do it. Why don't you do that last? Just go ahead and do the presentation.
Okay.
Just do that. So
Okay. We'll bypass the video for now. Okay, so first of all, let's go around the room and just, if you can, tell me who you are, what organization you might be with, and what brought you here. So we'll start with this gentleman right in front.
Hey everyone, I'm Jesse Answer III. I serve on the Greater Taylor Foundation as a board member, and I also serve on the Greater Taylor COAD as well. Thank you all for being here.
Hi, I'm Lonnie Zika. I've served on several boards through time. I'm retired now and want to continue to be involved in the community.
I'm George Pauley. I'm a pastor over at St. Paul Lutheran Church. My job is to work with the COAD to provide shelter in case of a major disaster, and I'm one of the board members.
Hi, I'm Stacy Clemens, and I'm part of the COAD, and I'm going to be in charge of volunteer arrangements.
Lee Perez, a member of the community my entire life, and I just thought this was a good cause, especially after the stuff we went through a few years back with the freeze and everything.
And Lee is my stunt double, by the way.
Dan Dixon, resident and personal interest.
Rowan Sulfur, lived here all my life. On the Lions Club, cut me off. Historic preservation. When we ever get that started.
I'm Ed Kalinowski. I served on the county's COAD in 2015 during the big flood, and I'm also the vice chair of the Greater Taylor Foundation.
And I'm Susan Komendowski, and I'm at 10th Street Methodist Church, and back during the 2015 flood, our church hosted the disaster workers and also housed the people who were in charge of helping people get disaster.
Hi, I'm Shiloh Brown. I've been a Taylor resident for about 11 years. And I'm a community member, communication consultant for a healthcare company. So I really enjoy communication and outreach activities. And I do some volunteering around town. Was recently like at the warming center during the last freeze in February, and other activities. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what this will do to bring all those resources together in town to ensure that something like 2021 does not have that impact again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bobby Copeland, Assistant Fire Chief, City of Taylor Fire Department. Board member, also oversee the Community Emergency Response Team, the CERT team, our new program for this.
And I'm Alan McMillan. I'm the volunteer liaison for Williamson County, and been involved with helping to set up the COAD here and other tasks.
Hi, I'm Megan Dyer. I'm a volunteer recruiter for Central Texas and the Hill Country, and I'm here learning from all of you.
Thank you all again for coming out. We want to be respectful of your time, so we're definitely going to finish on time today. Of course, my allergies are kicking in right now, which is not a good thing, but it is what it is, and I'll survive. Okay, so the purpose of this meeting is to explain the COAD to our community. We also have some information back there on the COAD table. Be sure to grab that before you go. There's a 2-page brochure that kind of outlines some of the things that we're doing. We just introduced a few of our board members. I'll mention all of our board here in a little while on a slide further down. We want to actively recruit individuals, businesses, nonprofits, churches, and other groups to become COAD members. So what does that mean, becoming a COAD member? That means that you can become a volunteer and help us in times of need, in various categories and in various skill sets. But that means that you can be a business and support the COAD in various needs as well, or you can be a nonprofit and help with either one of those things. So we're going to discuss how that works. And define individual interest and COAD training opportunities. Well, we've got various training opportunities, and we're going to cover what those are here in a moment. Okay, today's meeting agenda. The welcome and introduction. We're going to talk about what a COAD is, local needs and what we feel some of the gaps are, and how COADs work, and recruitment and training opportunities, and then a brief wrap-up so we can get everyone on the way to continuing the weekend. Okay, the history of the Greater Taylor COAD. In 2023, the COAD discussion was started by the Greater Taylor community, the Greater Taylor Foundation, the Community Needs Assessment Organization, and discussed with the Taylor Chamber and with Taylor Fire Chief Daniel Baum. Those were the three entities that started the discussion of should we do this, can we do this, how do we get this started. And in early 2024, they formed a founding committee, and it was chaired by Diana Phillips, who was with the Greater Taylor Foundation, the Texas Department of Emergency Management, Williamson County EMS, Texas A&M Extension, the Red Cross, Medical Relief Corps, and the Hutto EMS and the Leandry EMS. And they started the initial meetings, they started the initial planning. In probably February or March of 2024, on a Saturday morning, I got a phone call from Diana Phillips asking if I might be interested in being involved in this as the chairman of the nonprofit board. And I didn't say yes immediately because, first of all, I knew absolutely nothing, not a thing about what a COAD was. So we had discussions back and forth. We met a few times. I had a better understanding of what the need was, and I agreed to be involved in this. So I think that was in June, and in July we officially announced that I was going to be involved in this and head this effort up. And we started recruiting board members in August, and that was a lengthy process. It's tedious, it's time-consuming, and you have to meet with people, you have to explain to them what you're trying to do, you have to understand what their skill sets are and what they can bring to the organization and how they feel they can help. And so we went through that process and we defined our board members. The really good thing is the San Marcos, the community of San Marcos has an excellent COAD, and they've been in place for a while, and we spoke with them, Diana spoke with them, and they were more than happy to share their information with us, to allow us to look at their website, allow us to look at their information, and kind of not reinvent the wheel, but take what they had done and utilize it for our needs, and that's kind of what we did. So that saved us a great amount of time in the process of forming this. And if anyone has any questions at any time while we're speaking, please raise your hand and let us know. We'll try to answer your questions. I'm going to do a portion of the presentation. Tim is going to do a portion of the presentation. So, okay. So, what is our association with the Greater Taylor Foundation? How are they involved in this? Remember, I said that they were the initial entity that started the discussion of the need for this. So, we fall under and operate under the umbrella of the Greater Taylor Foundation structure. So what does that mean? We are a 501c3 nonprofit, and we have certification through them. So we are an entity within the Greater Taylor Foundation. So we are not a nonprofit on our own, but we are an extension, a branch of their nonprofit capabilities. We do our banking through their bank accounts. We have a separate bank account, but it's through their banking system. The accounting for us and for them is handled by the same entity. Reporting is handled by them. Insurance is handled by them, and administrative duties, of which right now there really are none from our end. We've been handling that mostly ourselves. But at some point in time, if there's further need, we'll work with them to define that, and they'll support that. And so we greatly appreciate the values and leadership and support that they have shown us. And Diana Phillips, who is the executive officer of the Greater Taylor Foundation, has been wonderful to work with. She's very knowledgeable about COADs, and we've met countless times. She's shared her knowledge. She's provided information for us that has been a wealth of information. So it's been a very good partnership so far. So what is a COAD? Community Organization Active in Disaster. It took me about a month to remember what that meant. If you asked me in 4 months, you got 5 different answers, 5 different times that you asked. But I've got it down now. Okay. So the purpose of COADs. The purpose of a COAD is to unite nonprofit, human services, and faith-based organizations, government agencies, businesses, and individuals to advocate for and promote a coordinated community-wide disaster preparedness initiative. In a nutshell, that just means that the community agrees to work together to resolve any problems that come up if there's a disaster. And that doesn't mean that we're going to be standing alone. We're going to have the Red Cross, we're going to have other entities, national faith-based entities, the Red Cross, FEMA, other organizations to support us. But in the short term, we have to be able to be prepared to try to address the immediate needs that we have. So that's our goal. So we adhere to the following principles. Cooperation. We foster cooperation among COAD member organizations and individuals and the community. Coordination. We coordinate the development of policies, procedures, and the implementation of services. The COAD serves as advocates and liaisons between member organizations and the state level counterpart, the Texas volunteer organizations active in disasters. Communication. We exchange and disseminate information among COAD members, the public, local, state, and federal agencies. And even though we're in the beginning process of this, we're already trying to do some of that. Tim has done a wonderful job. Tim McKesson has done a wonderful job of if weather alerts get issued, like the heat advisory that's in place now, the tornado alert that happened last week, the cold weather spells that happened a few months ago. As soon as that information becomes available, Tim publishes it out on our social media pages so that the community understands what's going on. So we're putting things in place that will eventually evolve into bigger things, and that's one of the things that we look forward to is being the voice to the community of what potential disasters can happen and what weather threats we have that we need to be aware of and address. One of the things that we're working on right now is we're trying to define how we communicate when there's a need. Right now, the city, someone at the city, anyone at the city can, the mayor, the city manager, the fire chief, the assistant fire chief, I can define that there might be a need. So they call Pastor Qualley, and then Pastor Qualley makes phone calls to other organizations that are involved, and they open up a shelter, or they define a warming center and a link for it, or a cooling center, as the case may be now. And but that process isn't smooth, and it isn't as transparent as we'd like it to be. So one of the things that we want to do is we want to define a document that says, okay, if it gets above 100 degrees for a length of this length of time, we automatically open a cooling center. If it gets below this temperature for a certain length of time, we automatically open a warming center, so that we kind of follow the same types of protocols that are in place in Austin and other places, where we're not having the phone discussions of, well, do we need to do this? Or I think you should do this. We just follow the procedures that we've all agreed to follow, and it'll just happen. And the COAD has kind of agreed to lead that effort if the city and the entities that are involved allow us to, and we're working on that right now. A collaboration, I just explained some of the things that we're doing, so it's important that we work together to achieve specific goals and to undertake specific projects at disaster sites and form partnerships during the disaster response. Education, that is so key. We have to be able to get information out to the public, or we have to be able to communicate well with the public, have them understand what we're doing and how they can be involved. So we're going to work on that. References that we're using, again, the San Marcos COAD has been great. There's a national organization called EATN, the Extension Disaster Education Network, and they have a playbook that defines anything you can think of to ask about for a COAD. So we definitely use them as a resource as well to try to get all of our processes and our programs in place. But what do COADs do? A disaster education provide training and information on how to prepare for and respond to disasters. Training and simulation exercises. We haven't gotten there yet, the simulation exercises, but that's one of our goals. One of the things that we have to be aware of, and one of the reasons that sometimes COADs don't succeed, is because if we put a plan in place, if we work for a year or two to put a plan in place for what do we do if there's a disaster, and then we don't have a disaster for 10 years, what do your volunteers do? You start losing volunteers because all of a sudden they haven't heard from you in 8 months or a year or 2 years. So we have to find ways to engage the volunteers, keep them informed, and we can do exercises and disaster simulations, those types of things, and keep them involved. So that's something that we're going to work on. Hazard analysis, identify potential hazards and assessing the risks they pose to the community. Sometimes flooding is caused because maybe Mustang Creek has a bunch of branches in the creek and they need to be cleared out, that type of thing. So we need to always be asking the community, what do you see out there? You are our eyes and ears, so what do you see that could cause potential problems when there is a disaster? Trees being trimmed. We saw what happened a few years ago during the February freeze, and how many trees were lost, how many branches. Management plans. Develop and maintain community emergency plans that are consistent with the local city plans. That is so important. We are not competing with the city. We are partnering with the city, and they are really the ones that tell us, yes, there's a disaster, or no, there isn't a disaster, and we're the ones that react to that. So we have to remember that protocol exists, and we have to work toward that all the time. Leadership development, build the capacity of local leaders to effectively manage disaster response and recovery efforts. In the beginning, Tim and I have been very involved, and there's a small group of people from our board that have been doing a lot of the work, because it just, when you're I call it storming, norming, and performing. Whenever you start something new, doesn't matter if it's a new job or a new hobby or whatever, there's always 3 stages. There's storming, norming, and performing. Storming is you don't know quite yet what to do, how you're going to do it. You don't have all the answers. You're trying to figure things out. You may or may not do things right in the beginning, and you may have to change. Then there's norming. There's a settling within the group and a recognition that, yes, we're headed in the right direction. We are doing things right. There's not as much chaos. There's a better understanding of what the vision is and what the end result needs to be. And then after that comes the performing, where you've actually put things in place, guidelines in place, people in place, entities and organizations in place so that you succeed. And so it's storming, norming, performing, where I feel we're still in the storming stage, but we're getting very close to transitioning to the norming stage where we have a better understanding of what we're doing. So, but having said that, we need to involve more people from our organization and from outside the organization. So one of the things that we've done is we've defined areas where we're going to need to have volunteers and resources to address those things. Sheltering. Pastor Pauly has agreed to lead that effort. Food. What happens when there's a disaster and you have people come in to help? You have to feed those people. You also have to feed the people that have been impacted by the disaster. There's going to be a need for both. So Mr. Ansera has agreed to head that effort. Volunteer recruitment. Organizing where our needs are. Who has agreed to volunteer? Stacy's going to be organizing that for us. So we're working on all of those things right now. Okay. Local gaps and needs. Can someone out there name me a recent disaster that you remember?
Freeze.
Freezes.
The freeze of 2021. That was a bad one. I remember waking up that morning and I wasn't in sheer panic yet, but when I heard the first, I was like, what is that? Then I heard it again, and I walked out on my front porch, and I see these huge limbs on my oak trees just falling to the ground and hitting my roof. One hit my truck, and luckily I had trimmed those trees 8 or 9 months before. It would have been a lot worse. But that was a terrible disaster. We lost power for most of the community for a good length of time. We lost water service for the community for a good length of time. We didn't have a COAD in place at the time. Luckily, what we've always had in Taylor, and with God's grace, we will always have this in Taylor, is people who care. And as soon as that happened, people started figuring out, okay, how do we get water to people? What do we do? A Texas Beer Company volunteered to shut down their operations and bottle water in beer cans and allow the community to drive in and fill containers with water. We had people working with restaurants to feed people that needed to be fed. So it was a very grassroots effort. It was not as organized as we would like it to be. The Red Cross came, the Red Cross helped, but the Red Cross can't get here 5 minutes after you make the phone call. They have to organize, they have to get here. It takes a number of hours, sometimes a number of days for that to happen. So our goal really is to have something in place that covers that shorter length of time and then supports what they're trying to do for the longer length of time. Another recent one was the Memorial Day flood of 2015. That was pretty bad. I remember sitting at home watching a movie with my wife and it started raining. And our daughter was a nurse at Baylor Scott White in Temple at the time, and she was still living with us at the time. And she had to work that evening. I think she made it to Granger and had to turn back around. And then she parked her Mustang at the curb at our street, Greenlawn Street, and I eventually had to go out there and move that car because the water was rising so high that it was almost up to the doors, on the bottom of the door jambs. We had a lot of flooding along Mustang Creek that day, and a lot of people in Taylor were in there.
And we lost 13 airplanes. Now, if you'd have told me a month ago, prior to that we were going to lose an airplane, that I was going to lose my airplane in a flood at the Taylor Airport, I said, it's impossible. It's now 1,000,000% impossible. And then we lost 13 airplanes in that flood. So it just goes to show you, you never know. And by the way, that's not 2021 on that next thing you're going, it's 1921.
Yes.
I missed it.
That's a typo.
None of, we weren't around then, were we? I didn't think so. Okay.
So the worst disaster in Taylor history was in 1921, the Willful flood of 1921. 40 inches of rain fell in thrall in less than 36 hours. And 87 lives were lost in Taylor alone. Now, if we had that kind of flood now, I would hope and I would doubt that many lives would be lost, just because we have better communication, we have television, we have cell phones, we have alerts. But still, a disaster of that magnitude could happen again. It's been over 100 years. At that time, Thrall got 40 inches, Taylor got over 25, Thorndale got 25 inches, Austin got over 19, and Georgetown got 15 inches of rain in less than 36 hours. So, I want to ask you, the audience, what are some of the things that concern you as far as preparedness? What are some of the things that you think that we might be able to put in place? You don't have to answer that right now, but those are some of the feedback that we need from you of things that we need to cover, things that we need to discuss, and so that's why we need to have so many of the community involved, as many as we can. Okay, how COADs work. Okay. So there are COADs and there are VOADs. And basically, a COAD is a community organization active in disaster. A VOAD is a voluntary organization active in disasters. A COAD is more of a local community type effort, where a VOAD is a more expanded effort. It's a broader effort. I look at a COAD as something that's in place in a community. I look at a VOAD as something that is in place to cover an area that maybe doesn't have a larger community in it, or that benefits more from a more expanding coverage. So you can do more research on that, but there's some information here about what they are. The VOAD has a broader scope. The coordination's a little bit different. The 4 C's principle, communication, collaboration, communication, and cooperation. I put communication in there twice, didn't I, Tim? You were supposed to catch that.
I'm sorry.
So they're a little different, but they both have the same goal, to be there at a time of need. So our mission and vision statement, to be a disaster-resilient community through collaboration, coordination, communication, training, and education. Our mission is to bring together the local nonprofits, government agencies, community members to enhance the disaster preparedness response and recovery efforts in Taylor and surrounding communities. So right now our focus is Taylor, and our primary focus will always be Taylor. But you know darn good and well that if something happens in Granger, if a tornado happens in Granger, people in Taylor are going to want to help. And so if we can help facilitate some of that at some point in time, we're going to try to do that. We're just not there yet. In the beginning, we won't be there yet. But we can have that discussion later on down the road. Okay, the chain of command. The city council, the mayor, are the people that alert us and let us know if we need to be activated or not. Okay? So the mayor is at the top of the chain. The mayor will make the call to Fire Chief Baum or Assistant Chief Copeland, one of them, and alert them that we need to activate the COAD. And either the mayor or one of those people will call me. And then when I get that call, I will call all of our volunteer leaders in charge of feeding, warehousing, medical care, hospital, volunteer management, spiritual care, donation management, and shelter and mass care. I will call all of those people and say, we need to activate. And then they will each have a playbook of what they need to do, who they need to call, what they need to think about getting done, and we'll start the effort. And the city will handle their responsibility, which is to keep the public informed. The city, a public information officer will handle that, and then 211 alerts will also handle that. So that's kind of how that works. Okay, and I down at the bottom, I put a notation, the Texas Government Code 418 says that top elected officials or designees make the, it should say the call to open warming and cooling centers or shelters. So that's what I was talking about. We'll have that agreement that says, if this happens, we'll activate this, and then the city and the shelters and the COAD will work as a team to make that happen. Any questions so far?
One thing,
Yes, sir.
I just want to stress a really important point about why we have a COAD, and that we learned from the Great Freeze that, the state of Texas was going to help us, the Red Cross was going to help us, all sorts of people were going to help us, but nobody could get here for a day, or 2 days, or 3 days. So we're kind of on our own until the big boys come in. So that's our focus, is to get us through those days when, as we prepare for the major groups to come in and help. And that's how I got involved, because I saw, like in the freeze, we had the homeless, where are we going to put them? And so I opened up the church, opened up our fellowship hall, and we were able to do that. And then from that time, it was like, well, how are we going to feed them? And then we learned there were all sorts of extra rules if we try to feed people that we have to follow through the health department, which we weren't fully aware of. So we had to make a bunch of adjustments, and that way a couple of our churches worked together to go and feed people, and then they actually got food for people, and the health department closed it down because they weren't following regulations. So we had to work through that. That's something that really kind of blindsided us. So that's our issue. Is our immediate thing is sheltering and feeding people during those couple days before the big boys come in. So I just want you to understand that's what really got us going, and that's our future.
And one of the people that helped us greatly during that big freeze, I just walked in the door. Would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
Hi, Ian, and great to be here.
Yeah, Ian was with Texas Beer Company, and they're the ones that started bottling water, started allowing the community to drive through and fill up jugs and containers of water. So they were a great resource during that 3-4 day period when we had no water.
You have 2 more.
I'm sorry?
You have 2 more guests that joined.
Oh, yes. If you please introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. This is my wife. My name is Donna Weeks, Nicole. I'm pastor of the Truth Baptist Church. We're a church plant here in Taylor, been roughly since September of last year. So got the invitation, definitely interested in seeing how we can get more of this.
Well, thank you for being here, Pastor. Appreciate it. Okay, so who is our board? Our executive committee, I'm the chair, Tim McKeston is the vice chair. Chad Tidewater is our treasurer. We have our mayor walking in the door right now.
Yep.
Thank you for being here, Mayor Villa.
Sorry.
Not a problem, he was door knocking.
Yeah, I've been door knocking and I can't stay late, so I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah, sure.
Greater Taylor Foundation has my 110% backing, as does the city council.
We're the COAD.
Correct.
Okay.
Let me finish my story. So this is just one aspect of the Greater Trade Foundation, the COAD, because when we have emergencies, we need to know, it's not our day job when handling those emergencies, whether that be housing people or feeding people. So when we had the loss of water, we ended up with Texas Beer, bottles of water. And when you start getting into housing people, all the private rooms, the restrooms, all those different things, there's legal stuff that you got to protect yourself about. So not being the experts, we're trying to team and organize, herd all the cats, if you will. So this is just one leg of the Greater Trinidad Foundation. So the Greater Trinidad Foundation COAD is very important to us. We'll have a city council, Councilwoman Cobb sits on this to get our input, but I had to go knock on doors, District 3 this morning, and then we'll do another district in July, but I have to speak at the First Mexican Baptist Church next to New York Pizza here at 1, so I'll listen for a little bit, but wanted to come show my good friend Thomas, and the others are still out there knocking on doors in different neighborhoods, but COAD has 102% of the city council. Good to see so many places. Thank y'all for showing up. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no problem. Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate you. Okay, so I'm our chair, Tim McKeska is our vice chair, Chad Tidewater is our treasurer, and there's a running gag with Chad's name. In the beginning, someone, either myself or Diana Phillips, typed his name as Chad Atwater. And so we go back and forth, and poor Chad's always correcting us, but his name is Chad Tidewater. He's the manager of our local Walmart here, very active in the COAD, and has been a great resource for us. Our secretary is Lisa Baum. Our advisor from the Greater Taylor Foundation is Diana Phillips. And as I said earlier, Diana's got a wealth of information for us. Okay, our board members at large. Bobby Copeland in the back of the room from the Taylor Fire Department, our assistant fire chief. Pastor George Qualley from St. Paul Lutheran Church. Jamie Muller from Taylor ISD. Jesse Trey Ansira III from Ansira Salsa. Jordan Greer from Taylor Conference. Regina Carlson from the Taylor Economic Development Corporation. Shelley Cobb from the Taylor City Council serves on our board. Stacy Clemens is a community member who's going to head up our volunteer efforts. And Timothy Tarbell from Baylor's Stock White are our board members currently. And we appreciate all their time and effort. They've been a joy to work with. Here's our organizational chart. You have me at the top. I will be the one getting the phone call from the city that says activate the COAD. And then you have the executive board members, five of us, and then you have our board down below. There's 15 people total involved at this point. And then we also have support. We're working on defining what the support will be from the Taylor Ministerial Alliance for Spiritual Care and from the Blue Line Trails for mental health care. So that's the structure of the organization. Community support, we've had some wonderful community support since the beginning. We've had donations from DURCON, from the Webby Komendowski Foundation, from the Greater Taylor Foundation via the Give Taylor Giving Tuesday campaign. The Leo Livingston Fund just gave us a grant. There's a certificate back on the table if you'd like to look at it, and numerous other individual donors. At some point in time, we're really going to focus on getting the community to start donating and helping us with this effort. We need donations for two reasons. Number one, we need to be able to put this structure in place and printing documents, having meetings, all of the supplies that it takes to make that happen. That table cover back there, we just bought a tent to take to community events. All of that costs money. So through the donation of all of these entities, we've been able to do that so far. But then we're also going to need money when disasters happen. And so we're working on getting a link on our website to be able to have donations coming in, make it easy for people to donate. $5, $10, $100, $500. There's no amount that's too small, and there's no amount that's too big. It'll all be put to good use, and so we'll move forward in that effort. Recruiting and training. As soon as Mr. McKeska takes a bite out of his donut, I call on him to do this part of the presentation. Tim is going to cover our recruiting and training efforts, what we're trying to do. We have Bobby Copeland back here that is available to talk to you about what our CERT teams will be doing. And so, Tim, I'm going to turn it over to you, sir.
Thank you. Sorry I had to have a donut. I saw the mayor get a donut. I figured if he had a donut, I could get a donut.
I was just making sure they were. They passed the test, they passed the test.
It would be an insult to have the mayor eat a donut alone.
I want to be real brief because I know I'm better at teaching classes than I am speaking in front of people. I've been doing this since 1978. I started with EMS as the first paramedic in Williamson County, advanced life support paramedic in 1978. You try to figure out how old that dude is, aren't you? How old could that guy be? I'm older than him. Anyway, so I started with EMS as a paramedic, and then I went into as a field training officer, and I went to A&M, went to fire school, became a firefighter, went through all the ranks on that for 26 years. The best thing that I did, I believe, was the best extension of myself as a teacher. I was an adjunct professor of EMS for Temple College for many years, and I helped teach about 600 paramedics and EMTs, and I was an examiner and evaluator with the Department of Health. So I've been doing it a long time, and I will tell you that the most important thing about this COAD, when Diana called me, I'm like going, man, I got a lot going on. I got 4 companies I'm running and 3 nonprofits. And I said, no, I got a lot going on. And then she said, well, I'm thinking about putting Thomas. And I go, Martinez? And she said, well, yeah, okay, I'm listening. And so when she told me the plan, I said, as long as he is at the top of the chain and not, they want to make me co-chairman. I said, no, I want to be down here. I'm a field guy. I'm happy in the field. I'm not happy in meetings. We've got the COAD prepared. Everybody saw COAD stuff, and they said, when are y'all going to have a meeting? When can we help? What can we do? And I said, trust me, we're almost there. But what I like about what we did is we prepared. We prepared our board to be prepared for you, because that was a mistake. We had just brought y'all in, 7 or 8 months ago. We were not ready. So now every board member knows their role. Everybody, all the adjunct board members, or all the advisory board members, they all know what's going on. We all know what's going on. We've got good partners with the Red Cross. We've got good partners with the city. We've got all that. So now guess what we need? Heartbeats. We need you. And my role is to train you. And I can teach basic life support. I can teach CPR and AED training, which you can see some of that stuff back over there. You'll know all of that. But we're not going to make you learn anything. We're going to ask you to learn things. And in the FEMA system, there are individual course studies that you can learn so many things at your own speed. You don't have to take the test unless you want a certification. You can watch it online, it's free, and then you learn, and then you become a part of our group. And that's the important thing, is learning. So we're going to make this pretty simple to where we're going to train you the best that we can, and then we're going to figure out where you fit best in the system, and then we're going to deploy you when needed. And it's not only the FEMA that has good course study, it's also the Red Cross. I took their course recently on sheltering, and they have excellent programs on what you do in sheltering, how to properly run shelters. I took that. It was very, the online portion of that I took. And you have a building that's in-person class, right? Yeah, you haven't taken down yet. But it's, when people are sleeping at home and watching TV, I'm training. I did 230 hours in ICS training with FEMA through the, why? Because I don't watch TV at night. I train. I know that's my boring life. That's just what I do. So I'm prepared to train you. But a lot of that training you're going to do yourself. And then with Bobby, I'm also a CERT instructor, Community Emergency Response Team instructor. So was Bobby back there. We went to school last December. And the city will have a CERT team. And to show you the importance of training, let's say you're a member of our COAD. You're a member of our COAD. And you're deployed, we're working a deal. And you get to come through with your little ID, you get to come through the barrier to come help us. And here come I put a microphone in your mouth. Here, lose. And they see your CERT vest, or you see your COAD ID, and you turn and you start talking, and that's how you end up on YouTube with 1 million views. You see, because you're probably not saying what you're supposed to be saying. Under the incident command system that FEMA teaches and the National Emergency Management University teaches is that it's a very short couple hours, and it tells you you don't do that. The city will appoint a PIO. They'll have public information officers to handle that. And so it teaches you the right things and the wrong things to avoid. So that's those kind of classes. But I can't tell you how many times you could have the best COAD in the world, you could have the best CERT team, but it only takes one with a microphone in their mouth and say, where are those people from? And you get a million views. That's not what we're here for. We're here to train properly. And I think this is an amazing organization just from the board. But now, I'm kind of done meeting with those guys and girls. I'm kind of like, okay, I've had enough. I missed a couple of meetings, I was out of the country. But I'm not banning it. I'm just ready for y'all. I'm ready for you. Bobby's ready to train you on for CERT team. We're ready to train you and get going with this. And that's where we're at right now. We can't do anything without you. And I know this is a bad time of day. I found out later when people started calling me, hey, I got a Little League game, I got this, we got a graduation. So we're going to do another one in the evening, to get more people. And then we'll figure out what you want to do. Now, one of the things that we're looking at is COADs can sometimes dissolve and go away when they get bored, when there's nothing to do. We hope there's never a disaster that we need. But we just can't let you train and then leave. So there's some possibilities of having special response teams, smaller response teams that will help in small items such as warming centers, cooling shelters. Let's say you have a marathon run, and some of y'all I've trained in basic life support that want to help a school when they're having an event or something. We're going to discuss that as time goes on. It's the best way. Like Erwin here is an insurance specialist, right, Erwin? FEMA, okay. So there's a lot of COADs that have mitigation teams. Mitigation teams are important because that happens now. So if you're an expert at some of this real estate and construction, we can form a little special response team in mitigation, and then they go out and look at all the things in Taylor that's wrong now. That tree's hanging over that line over there. That bar ditch is full of junk. We've got to get that out of there. All those things that could help the community now is what mitigation will do. And so those are some of the things that can happen. But I'm really excited. But like I said, I love the board, but I'm ready to get y'all involved somehow. It's an amazing board. We work good together. But I'm really glad we've gone through this process, that we got ourselves in line.
We're going to COAD committees and chairs let's go back to Tim's slide real quick. These are some of the people that are involved as partners with us to help us in the training. Bobby Copeland with the City of Taylor, the CERT training. Alan with the American Red Cross. Local Emergency Management. Bruce Clemens is working with us closely on that. Danny Caldwell with TDM, the Texas Division of Emergency Management. And Kyra Sacharski with Texas A&M AgriLife. And they do some really neat stuff with Texas A&M AgriLife. They're holding, they recently held a training for teenagers, how they can be involved and how they can help. And so it's not just adults, it's trying to involve as many people in the community as we can. So we're reaching out to as many of these entities as we can so that we can partner with them going forward with our training. So our Greater Taylor COAD committees and chairs. Training, Tim McKessie is going to be the committee chair for that. Pastor Qualley is going to handle the sheltering aspect. Jesse Ansira III, Trey is going to handle the food aspect. Chad Tidewater, our Walmart manager, is going to handle donation management. And the interesting thing about Chad is he worked for HEB for a length of time, and he was one of the people involved in driving those big HEB semis to wherever a disaster was and rolling up and feeding communities and doing those things. So he has that knowledge that he brings to the table for us. And now he's involved with Walmart, kind of doing some of the same things as well as being our manager here at local Walmart. Jordan Greer is going to handle our warehousing. Jordan's job for Taylor Compress, a large portion of his job is warehousing, the dynamic works and where to put all these, all the cotton that comes in the warehouses and how to rotate inventory, how to handle all that. He's got a wealth of knowledge of that, so he brings that to the table. Triage, healthcare, Tim Tarbell with Baylor Scott and White. He won't be the only one involved in that. There will be others, but he will lead that effort for us. We've had a great group. I want to thank Tim and Trey because they are our IT people. They are our social media people. They are Tim McKeska and Trey and Sarah are the ones who created your brochure, who put stuff out on Facebook, and they're both very sharp gentlemen at doing what they do. And I would be totally lost without their help in that. So thank you, Tim and Trey, and thank you to all of our board members who are here today, and those who couldn't make it today, because they have spent a large amount of time working on this effort, and I'm very appreciative of their support. Okay, so why are we here? We are here because we want you to take one of these forms in the back of the room and fill it out, and let us know what you're interested in. Of these committee options, what are you interested in? If you don't know right now, that's okay. Just give us your name, your cell number, and your email. And we'll reach out to you later and have discussions of, so what do you think? How can you be involved? How can we partner with this? So if you can fill it out today, that'd be wonderful. If you can't, please grab one or more. Churches that are here, religious organizations, feel free to take 5 or 10 of those and pass those out to people in your congregations, or if you're with the Lions Club or one of those organizations, one of the nonprofit organizations. Feel free to either take some or reach out to me, and I or someone from our group will go and publicly speak at an event that you may have, and we'd be glad to do that at some point in time. So, we're getting to the end of our meeting. Any questions? Any comments? Ron?
Are we planning on partnering with the school district?
Yes. Dr. Garcia has already said that she's committed to helping us, making the schools available as needed, making school buses available if needed, those types of things. And so one of the things that we're going to work on, we've already started working on this, and Shelley Cobb from our city council is heading up this effort for us, is drafting MOUs, memorandums of understanding, with the entities that we feel we need to have those in place with first. So she's working, we completed the MOU with the city, and that's signed and approved by the city. We're working on MOUs with DERCON for a warehousing facility. We're working and MOUs with some of our local restaurants for feeding small portions of people, mass feeding if we need to do that, that type of thing. So we've identified about 6 or 7 MOUs that we're working on to begin with, and then later on we'll work on other MOUs with other entities in the community. So what have we accomplished so far? We've defined our board of directors, we've drafted and approved our bylaws, we've opened up a bank account, we've created an MOU with the city, we are communicating weather alerts via social media, but there's so much more that we can be doing and will be doing in the future. Where can you find us? Our email address, thegreatertaylorcoad@gmail.com, our website, greatertaylorcoad.org. We're on social media, we're on Facebook, we're on X, which is formerly Twitter, we're on YouTube, and we're working with the Taylor Press to do articles. We've had a couple of articles published, and we're in discussion right now to have another article published. Wednesday, we will be, Diana Phillips and I, Tim has another commitment that day, so he can't join us, but we're going to be in Hutto Wednesday all day long, because Hutto is working on starting their own COAD, and they've been a very good partner to us. They've come to our meetings, they've shared information with us, thoughts with us, so they're having a community effort, and we're going to be holding a class called COAD 101. We've only been in existence for a year, but we're going to share what knowledge we've learned in that 1 year with them so that they can see what can happen. So we're going to be doing that Wednesday. We've got a 2-page brochure that Trey did a wonderful job on in the back of the room. Make sure that you grab one of those. And again, thank you for attending.
And one last thing, make sure you like those. Go back, Thomas, if you don't mind. I wouldn't plug my disc here. Go back. Oh, make sure you follow us, because we've got good information on our Facebook about weather. We had thunderstorms that were bearing down on us last night. I appreciate Chuck, Ms. Brown. I know you share those. I appreciate that. But please go on there. We need followers, because I think I'm kind of like talking to myself when I'm doing that. Is anybody watching me?
Trey and I like
yeah. I see Ms. Brown shares it, and I saw there was a few others, and I know Trey, thank you very much. Of course, you got to, and so do you. But really, we need followers there. That's important.
If you could go back about 10 to 12 slides, I want to emphasize a point you just made with Councilwoman Shelley Cobb and the formation. One more back, I think. No, one more. Keep going. Yes, right here. Okay, so just to kind of, again, I'm Jesse Answer the third. Thank you all for attending. Just to give you some inside baseball and kind of speak more about the process of the formation and what has taken us to get here. I want everyone to know that Councilwoman Cobb and our other board members and COAD have worked diligently on forming all of these MOUs with like huge organizations, Baylor Scott and White Hospital, the city, churches, working with DERCON, working with TDEM, school districts. So the deal is with COAD, that separates us from kind of other, nonprofit organizations in the communities, and no offense to them, but we have to have all of our paperwork so buttoned up. We have to have all of our compliance documents, insurance, because the deal is, well-intentioned groups have gone out to try to, feed the homeless or feed the needy, but sometimes Williamson County may come in and say, hey guys, where's all your paperwork, your permit? You don't really have the measures to do that, so they get stopped, and it's frustrating because, you want to help the people. So we've done it the slow and steady way, and I know Tim is on the field guy, so it's, he's a 100-mile-per-hour type guy, but he's seen it where we've got to get all these measures in place, got to be buttoned down to where, we have the appropriate relationship with the city. They can trust us. They know that we're competent, compliant. That way, now we've reached that turning point to where we can kind of step aside. Tim can come up to the forefront, that gentleman in the back, and they can start deploying training. So I just wanted y'all to know the kind of inside baseball of what's taken about a year and a half. So now I feel like we're ready. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Trey. Okay, so we were going to show a video, but we had some technical difficulties. We may not be able to show it. We're going to try to show it.
Taylor, Texas is a community in one of the largest growth corridors in Texas, located northeast of Austin in Williamson County. A historic city that was founded in 1876. Taylor has always been a vibrant community, a place brimming with energy, life, and diverse engagement, where residents feel a strong sense of belonging, actively participate in local activities, and enjoy a rich mixture of cultural experiences, fostering a welcoming and dynamic atmosphere across different demographics and interests. The residents of Taylor are working towards common goals that are meant to uplift their lives, resulting in a quality of life that benefits everyone. When a disaster strikes, whether it be large or small, citizens always respond with their best. The Greater Taylor COAD, community organizations active in disaster, will focus on preparedness and will be ready to respond with resources, volunteers, and coordination of services to those who need assistance during and immediately after a disaster. Our COAD will form solutions in coordinating nonprofit resources and integrating them within local government. Our COAD will be here to help you, our neighbors.
I'm Bruce Clements. I serve as the Director of Emergency Management for Williamson County. The Greater Taylor Foundation is doing some outstanding work in our communities, particularly with regard to building community resilience and preparedness. The Community Organizations Active in Disaster, or COAD initiative that they currently have underway, is bringing together folks from across the community, public and private partnerships, bringing everyone to the table to help really build that community resilience by connecting people before a disaster so that they can coordinate and get to know each other. We've seen throughout recent history that the way people have been kind of distracted by their devices, by their phones and everything else, we've really lost that community cohesion to a large extent. And initiatives like this really restore a lot of that cohesion and really restore some of the resilience that we've lost because of our technology. If you'd like to get involved, there's a couple ways you can do it. First of all, you can support the Greater Taylor Foundation, but you can also find opportunities to volunteer, including with the COAD initiative.